Hey, hi everybody. It's about 12:01. We're probably going to begin in a few minutes or probably a minute or so. But just to let you know who I am, my name is Samantha Seigerman, and I am very, very grateful to have Rutgers host this amazing summer session for all of us and our wellness and our mind, body, spirit, all of that. And today I'm going to be leading us in a bit of a meditation. So first we're going to do meditation of 4-7-8 breath, which I'll go a little bit more into detail about that. And then again, we're going to go more into the philosophy about Santosha and how you can just really hone that into your meditation practice on and off the mat. And then following, we'll do a short little yoga flow, which is for everybody. If you feel like you want to sit that out, please feel free. Again, this is your time, so I really want you to make it yours. So if that means laying in child's pose or just sitting with your hands on your lap, totally cool. I'm going to put in a playlist for you in the chat. This is essentially an ongoing piano 6 hours, so you can really tune in at any time. I was going to do a 3-2-1, but if you want to do also without music, I invite you to do that as well. I'm going to give it another minute or so to let some last people coming in. Again, I'm Samantha Seigerman, but feel free to call me Sam. If you have any cell phones or anything around, I mean, if we're using our devices, so that's kind of unavoidable, but any sounds or anything that might be distracting, I just ask you to maybe put that to the side. Again, this is your hour for you. Okay, so I'm going to get started. So I would love to have everybody sitting in a comfortable position, whether that is cross-legged like I'm doing, or I would love everybody, if they have a mat, to just lay down in Supta Baddha Konasana, which is soles of the feet touching, knees splayed out. If that is kind of uncomfortable for your back, I invite you to just knock the knees in towards one another so they're touching, so you get a little bit more support for the back here. And just take a minute to just settle in, right? Just whatever the morning is, whatever it was, just be here in this moment, right now, here and now. And maybe you have so many things to do today, or maybe you have nothing to do, but I just invite you to just let that go and just begin to arrive here. Just begin to notice just what's going on in the body, right? Are you feeling a little bit tense? Maybe are you feeling super happy about this beautiful sunny day we're having, even though it's extremely hot? Just begin to arrive and just tune in. And next, I would love for you to just melt, really feel your body, whether you're sitting, feeling the sit bones just melting into the mat, grounding your roots into the ground. And if you have, if you're laying down, I ask you to maybe place one hot hand on the heart, another hand on the belly. And let's everybody take a nice deep breath in through the nose and sigh it out through the mouth. Good. Let's do that again, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top and just let that go out of the mouth. You can be as loud or as quiet as you want to be. And let's do that again, really feeling the expansion of the chest as you breathe in. Feeling the breath at the top of the throat and let that go. And just breathe on your own for a little bit. Try not to manipulate the breath. Just be here and notice. Maybe you feel the coolness of the air coming into your nostrils. Maybe you feel the warmth as it exits the nostrils. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through what's called it's a small meditation, and it's called the relaxation breath. And this is such an amazing technique if you are really anxious, if you want to go to sleep. This really, really helps. So what we'll do, I'll walk you through it and then we can do it together. So first we're going to inhale for the count of 4. And maybe you put your hands on your ribs so you can feel the ribs expand as you breathe in. And at the top, we're gonna hold it for 7 counts, and then we're gonna let a swoosh noise out for 8. So almost like you're blowing up a balloon really quickly, but not so quickly. So it's gonna sound like this. I'll walk you through it. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold at the top for 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then for the count of 8. And just hold for a second there and continue to do that. So breathe in for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let go, making that noise for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'll do that again, leading with you for one more time. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Really just understanding or feeling how the ribs are expanding here. And then hold at the top. And when you reach 7, letting go for 8. Great. If you're just joining us, we're just going through a short meditation, 4, 7, 8 breath. Again, we're going to inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then let that go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if my counting doesn't match up with your breath, that is totally fine. So just continue to breathe here wherever you are. You can continue with this breath, or you can just breathe normally, whatever feels good for you. I'm just gonna go into a bit about Santosha. So Santosha, I love the way the word sounds and feels as it rolls off my tongue. It could be an exotic food, a tropical getaway, or one of those really excellent cocktails with the little umbrella. And Santosha is part of the 8 limbs of yoga, and it's one of the Niyamas. It's how the Niyamas are how we live our life externally and internally. And as I was going through my teacher training, the concept of Santosha really, really resonated with me. So in terms of Santosha, the translation is being content with what you have and where you are instead of wishing for things you don't have or daydreaming of the future. It's really living in the present and feeling true satisfaction. And here is the kicker. When you have this kind of contentment, true joy is attained. So you have to be really careful with your interpretation of contentment, though. For some people, contentment is the way they feel after eating a 4-course gourmet meal with wine perfectly paired to each course, or maybe your favorite chocolate. You get the idea. So these types of contentment fall more along the lines of satisfaction. Real honest to goodness contentment means to just be as we are without going to food, maybe it's sex, chocolate, or just these other things, material things for happiness. So as you continue to breathe, here are just a few of the ways to practice Santosha. You can remain calm in success or failure. Practice living mindfully, which we're doing right now. Asking yourself, do you really need more stuff in your life? And this next one is the hardest for me, but if we could do this every day, it would be that much sweeter. So living in the present moment without regretting the past or anticipating the future. If you can't be happy with yourself and where you are in life, you're gonna have a pretty long road ahead. So I'd love to share some mantras that I invite you to take into your meditation as you breathe in and out. So the first one is, I am content. And you can take a minute to just repeat that silently or aloud to yourself. I am content. Next one, I am grateful for what I have and for what I do not have. Taking a nice deep breath in maybe and letting that go. I learn from the joys and disappointments life brings me. And I'm sure we've had a lot of those this year. Taking a nice deep breath in, letting that go. And then the last two, I honor the good in myself and others. So, so important. And I accept life just the way it is. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. And letting a nice sigh out of the mouth. Maybe if you have any tension in the jaw, you can release that. And we're going to begin coming into our yoga practice of the session. So if you have any yoga mats, or if you feel like you want to skip it, just continue to breathe. Again, this is your time. Maybe you just connect one heart to belly and continue to take, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. For my yogis, we're going to begin off in child's pose. So settling in Balasana, child's pose, bringing your big toes to touch, knees apart. And let's begin to take the arms out in front of us. Forehead is hitting the mat. And really just begin to settle in here. We've already cultivated a good amount of breath here. And I just want you to just connect to the earth for a sweet second. Just allowing yourself to land on the mat, in your body, bringing your awareness to your breath, and just noticing how the breath happens on its own without any effort. Maybe you notice the chest expand and contract as you breathe. Good, good, good. Keeping your awareness on the breath. Maybe you want to massage your third eye located right in the center of the forehead, in between the corner of your eyes, or in the center of your eyes rather. Taking a nice little head massage back and forth. And maybe you want a little bit of more of a stretch for the shoulders. You can tent down to all 10 finger pads. Continuing to focus on the breath here, feeling that stretch also in the sides of the body. So as we continue to just settle in our child's pose, I've been reading again a lot lately, mostly consisting of self-help and yoga books, because honestly, myself needs help during this time, and I just love yoga. And I've learned to find joy knowing this is enough. Just understanding our journeys in life, or generally living in this new normal. I've learned it's important to remember to connect to the sweetness of Santosha, or contentment. So no matter how you're coming into this moment, whatever that previous energy was, we can gradually shift, coming into peace and contentment. So as you allow your breath to flow, as we move our body, allow these things that gather up, that cause suffering and confusion, to just gently melt away as you exhale. Contentment is that feeling of joy. It brings feelings of warmth and peace. And in this moment, you have everything you need. And perhaps that's the most direct path to Santosha. So all together, take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh out the mouth. And this time, as you breathe in through the nose, we're gonna breathe out of the nose. So this is, you're gonna feel like a warm sensation in the back of the throat. And this is what's called your ujjayi breath. Maybe it's kind of like a water, or not a water, but an ocean sound, waves, or maybe it sounds like breeze whispering through the trees. Again, this practice is all about you and what feels good for you. Taking another deep breath in, we're gonna come up onto all fours, coming out of your child's pose. So pressing into the hands, coming into a tabletop position, your hands are about shoulder width, your feet are shoelace side facing down, and really pressing the mat away here. We're gonna take a nice inhale and begin to tilt the back of the body up for a cat, or cow rather, excuse me. Gaze is facing up. And then exhale, rounding the spine, belly to nose for cat. And continuing to do this on your own breath. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart, lift the gaze for cow. And exhale, rounding in the spine, feeling that parachute of the back body. And continuing to breathe on your own, spreading the fingertips wide. And continuing with your cat cow. Maybe you want to get a little bit of maybe you want to get a little creative with this movement. Maybe you take some hip circles, small or big, going from one side to the next. And again, you can stay with your cat cow, whatever feels good for you. And if you go one way, maybe you go the other way. Just really warming up the spine here. Good, 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 good. And I want us to flip our wrists, so all 10 finger pads or fingers really are facing in towards one another with a slight micro bend. Now this might feel a little bit weird, but it's amazing for we practically text all day. So this is a great way to just kind of lubricate the joints. Maybe you make some small little circles. And if it's too much, please feel free to flip the wrist the other way. So again, continuing to focus on the breath as we move our hips or continue in our cat cow. And if you have the wrists turned, turn them back to the front of the mat. And from here, we're going to tuck the toes and lift the hips up for downward facing dog. So do what you have to do here. So you can pedal out the legs here, the feet, taking the dog for a walk. Maybe this is your first downward dog of the day. You might be feeling a little bit tight in those areas. And just continuing to sink your breath in with your movement. Now, all 10 finger pads are facing or planted in towards the mat. And maybe you shake your head out yes, maybe you shake your head out no. And as we solidify this shape, maybe you have a bit of a bend in your knees as your hips go up, belly to thighs, heels begin to press down towards the mat. I have to have a heavy bend in my legs, so that's totally fine. The eyelids of the arms are facing in towards one another, and the back of the neck is nice and long. Taking a nice deep inhale here, and out. Again, take a nice deep inhale in your downward facing dog. And let that go. From here, we're gonna shift into high push-up plank. So really pressing the mat away. Shoulders are over the wrists and heels are shooting back towards the back of the room. Imagine just one long line of energy. Begin to roll back and forth, lubricating the joints. Don't worry, we're not here for long. If you need to come down on your knees, totally fine. The next time you come forward, begin to lower all the way down to your belly. Untuck the toes, hands slide back towards the bottom ribs. And let's inhale for baby cobra. So inhale, pressing into the tops of the feet, into the hips. Collarbone is wide. And exhale, let that go. We're gonna take 2 more just like that. Pressing the tops of the feet. Maybe you reach up a little bit higher. And exhale, let that go. Great, one more time, we're gonna inhale, pushing to the tops of the feet, heart shines forward, gaze is up, and exhale, let that go. Great, so from here, we're gonna meet back in child's pose for a quick breath. And then from here, we're gonna meet back in downward facing dog. And take a nice deep, deep, deep breath in. And on the exhale, look at your hands at the top of the mat and slowly, like you're moving through molasses, walk towards the top of the mat. I'll face you guys here. And once you get to the top of the mat, really let everything hang here. Feet are about hip width distance, and you're hanging here essentially like a ragdoll. So maybe you have a little bit of a bend in the knees and letting the arms just really hang here. Maybe grab opposite elbows, swinging from side to side. Maybe you shake the head out, yes. Maybe you shake the head out, no. And maybe you can give yourself like a nice little, grab your right hand or your left hand and give yourself a nice little neck massage. I encourage belly to thigh so you can really get the most out of this forward fold here. And from here, we're gonna slowly roll on up, having the head be the last to stand, so vertebra by vertebra. And from here, you can have a small gaze or you can have your eyes closed. Pinkies are spiraled towards the front of the room. And feet are really grounded here. And I just want you to check in to Tadasana mountain pose. Really feel your feet rooted into the mat here. And this is a great time to set an intention for your practice. Maybe it's Santosha, about being here. What can you be content with right here, right now, and find pure joy? And knowing your body and your breath can do these amazing things. Take a nice deep inhale and a gentle exhale. And slowly open up the eyes if you have them. And I hope we all have an amazing, beautiful practice. So first we're gonna start off with some sun salutations. So we're gonna reach the arms up, gaze follows, and exhale, forward fold over the hips, spine is long. Inhale, we're gonna take three half lifts. So inhale, hands onto shins, spine is elongated, gaze is out in front of you, and exhale, let that go. Again, on the inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, let that go. Back of the neck is long. One more just like that. So inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, let that go. We're gonna take our right foot, step it back, followed by our left foot, high push-up plank. Now you can either do knees, chest, chin for chaturanga. So this is knees, chest, chin, or if you're ready for your chaturanga, you can shift forward and begin to slowly lower halfway. Elbows are shading the sides of the ribs, gaze is out in front of you. And once you're halfway down, come onto the shoelace side of the feet, pressing up, downward facing dog as you exhale. Breathing in here. And a nice gentle exhale. From here, we're going to take our, from here, we're going to take a look at the top of the mat and we're going to travel. So taking a nice walk to the top. And from here, we're going to root to rise. So swing the arms up, gaze follows, exhale, hands to heart center, and let that go. That is our first sun salutation. Again, feel free to take child's pose anytime you need it. We're gonna do that again one more time. Inhale, the arms up, gaze follow, shoulder blades are relaxed here. And exhale, fold on over the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, left foot steps back, followed by right foot. High push-up plank. Take your version if you want to go for the knees, chest, chin, or if you're ready for your chaturanga, come forward halfway, elbows shade the sides of the ribs, coming onto the tops of the feet, upward facing dog, sternum shines forward, and exhale, pushing yourself back up into downward facing dog. Taking 2 rounds of breath here. Good, and we're gonna take a look at the front of our hands and begin to slowly walk up to the front of the mat, letting your head hang heavy. From here, we're gonna sweep the arms up, gaze follows, and hands to heart center. Take a nice deep breath in, and let that go. Moving to our sun bees, we're gonna swing the arms up, gaze follows, exhale, come bring that back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, stepping your right foot back. And from here, we're gonna round into this right back foot as this left foot is also grounded, coming up into our crescent lunge. So for here, you can also take this back foot down, making sure the knees over the ankle, shifting this, this left hip back. So the hips are square towards the front. We want to think like the car lights at the front of our hips here. So taking a nice deep breath in, shoulder blades are relaxed. And on the next inhale, we're gonna open it up into our warrior 2. Making sure our back heel is in line with our front arch. Having a nice bend in the knees here, coming a little bit lower. And from here, we're gonna tilt forward with our hand, our left hand, and bring it up and back, like you're shooting a basketball towards the back of the room for our reverse warrior. Taking a nice deep breath in here. And exhale, cartwheel the hands down to meet that left front foot. The back right foot spins forward, taking this left foot to meet the right high push-up plank. And from here, we can come down into chaturanga, elbow shade the sides of the ribs, coming down, pushing up onto the tops of the feet, shoelace side. And exhale into your downward facing dog. Taking a nice deep breath in here. And letting that go. Good. We're gonna do that again on the other side. So taking a look at your hands in front of you, tiptoe towards the front of your mat. And we're gonna take a nice root to rise, reaching the hands up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Again, let's lift, inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, fold over the hips. Plant the hands down on the mat or fingertips. We're gonna take our left foot back. Really, we know where we're going now. So pushing into this right foot this time, coming into our high crescent lunge. Whatever you want to choose, you can have this back foot down. Exhale, open it up, warrior two. Checking our feet in here. Shoulder blades are relaxed, arms are fired up. Maybe you gather a drishti, which is a non-moving point in the room to really focus on. And exhale, we're gonna tip forward, reach it up and back. Again, feeling the intercostal muscles of the ribs really stretch back, keeping that bend in the leg. And exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Taking your flow with the choice or skipping it. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Great, 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 great. So from downward facing dog, once you arrive, take a nice deep breath in. Take a look at your hands out in front of you and begin to just walk towards the front of the mat. And this time we're gonna reach up, gaze follows, and then hands to heart center, and then release the hands. And just be here right now and check in. Maybe you feel the heat start to build up in the body. Just starting to notice how you felt maybe before or now, before you had come to class versus now. And just breathe into that for a moment. Good. Alrighty, from here, we are going to release your hands if you had them still at heart center. And we are going to go into our chair pose. So really grounding both feet here. Feet are about hip width distance if you have some low back problems, but traditionally feet are together. And begin to take your arms up parallel to one another and sit your seat on back. Your shoulder blades are relaxed, and so are the toes. You really want to be able to feel the weight in the heels here. And also, if it helps, I like to pretend I'm squeezing a block in between my two thighs here. And on the inhale, take your hands to heart center, and we're gonna take this twist on over to the right. Pressing both palms into one another, twisting a little bit more as you exhale. So the inhale should lengthen you, and the exhale, you'll twist just a little bit deeper. Now here, you might wanna check down at your knees and see if your knees have popped out a little bit, your left one. And if it has, just bring it back in line. Taking another deep breath here. And exhale. Good, coming back to center, arms reach out, pushing into the tops of the feet, come up to straight. And exhale, lower back down. Take your flow, skip it. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we're gonna travel to the front of our mat, however you wanna get there. And from here, we're gonna take our second chair. So booty back, arms lift up, shoulder blades are relaxed, toes are relaxed, and maybe you sink a little bit deeper. Just imagine there's a weight on your tailbone here. On the exhale, take your hands to heart center, twist on over to the left. Again, maybe you don't want to be collapsing here, but maybe you use your elbow to press up and out into the knee here. Taking a nice deep breath in and out. On the next inhale, come to center, chair, and exhale, press through the top of the feet, straighten everything out, arms up above, and exhale, lower back down. Take your flow, skip it, child's pose, whatever you want to do. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Just noticing where you're at right here, right now. We're almost at the cool down. We've got a little bit longer to go. And from downward facing dog, we're gonna slowly walk to the front of the mat, or if you prefer to jump, I invite you to do that. I just can't see anybody, so make sure you're careful. And from our forward fold, actually, excuse me, we're gonna reach the arms up and take them down to heart center. And I'd love for you all to take one giant step out to so your feet are facing the long edge side of the mat here. And tee your arms out, and on the exhale, begin to lower everything down into this wide-legged forward fold. Really letting everything hang here. We built some heat in the body, and just come forward to your toes. See how that weight distribution feels on the feet. Make sure the back of the neck is long, and just settle into this wide-legged forward fold. 3 to 5 rounds of breath here. Maybe you have a little bit of a bend in the knees. Finishing up whatever round of breath you're on. I invite you to stay here. This always feels so delicious for me. But when you're ready, we're going to take our hands underneath our shoulders, come up for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And we're going to creature walk our way back to the front of the mat. So spin onto that front foot. The right foot is facing forward, as well as the back left. Now we're in this lunge. Taking that left hand, reaching up the right hand for an easy twist. Breathing here. And breathing out. Spiraling the ribs towards the side of the room. And on the next exhale, bring the hand to meet the front right foot. And then taking that right foot to meet the left, high push-up plank. Take your flow, skip it. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Continuing to breathe here. And when you're ready, we'll meet at the front of the mat from downward facing dog. Arms sweep up, root to rise, gaze follows, and then exhale, hands to heart center. We're gonna take that wide-legged lunge on the other side. So taking your legs out so they're facing the long edge side of the mat. I'm gonna face you. And begin to forward fold again into the mat. Breathing here. Taking 2 more juicy rounds of breath. When you're ready, Hands underneath the shoulders. We're gonna take that fun creature walk to the front of the mat. This time, our left leg will be in front and the right will be in the back. We're gonna press into the mat with our right hand, floating the left hand up to the sky. Easy twist, really having the ribs splay out to the side, the left side that is. A nice deep breath in and out. One more, just like this. And exhale, hand comes back to meet the left. Both hands are planted. We're gonna have to step that left leg to meet the right. High push-up plank and take your flow, whatever it is, meet downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we're gonna travel to the front of our mat. And from here, we're gonna come on up however you want. We could do switching up, root to rise rather, and hands to heart center. Sorry if that last part was a bit confusing, but where we're going is we're heading into tree. So feet are about hip width distance, and we're gonna begin by putting weight into this right foot here, and begin by lifting up the left. Now, your foot can go above the knee or below, but just make sure it's not on top of the knee or resting on the knee here. We don't want to hurt ourselves here. So whatever it might be, I always go for a kickstand, especially in the more sweaty yoga classes. But again, it's really what's good for you here. So take whatever variation you need and breathe here into this tree. Maybe you take your arms up, gaze is at an unmoving point. Maybe you float your arms in the air, swaying tree. And wherever you are, just take 3 more rounds of breath here. Hands can also come to hips. And if you fall out of this, it's totally fine. I do it all the time. And taking your last round of breath here, we're gonna just rest that foot down, that left foot, and we're gonna just do the other side now. So taking your right foot up and putting the weight into that left foot and taking tree on the other side, whichever variation, if you want to come up a little bit higher or do the kickstand. Hands could be at prayer position. And do whatever you want with your hands. Again, we could do a mudra where your pointer finger and your thumb are touching one another. Finding that unmoving focal point. And taking your last round of breath, we're gonna meet in plank position, however you wanna get there. So you could flow it out, take your downward facing dog, skip it and just do what I'm doing, and rolling yourself out into plank position. I'll give everyone a second to get there. If you're already there, begin to lower once you get to plank. We're gonna begin to take everything down to the ground. So lowering slowly, slow, and then onto the belly. Untuck the toes. Hallelujah, we made it to the ground. So from here, we're gonna go into a bit of a couple of back bends. So palms are facing up, shoelace sides of the feet are facing down, legs are zipped up, and from here on the inhale, you wanna push everything up. So pressing into the pelvis, arms lift up, legs lift up, really using that back here. And actually your gaze should be facing down towards the mat, breathing here. You want the back of the neck being long. On the inhale, maybe you get a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. And exhale, let that go. Maybe you take your right cheek to the mat and taking your legs up, begin to windshield wiper the hips. Really feeling that connection with the mat and the earth. And from here, we're gonna take bow. You could do the same exact thing as locust with your legs zipped up, or you could take grabbing both feet in back of you, bending your knees. And when you wanna lift up, make sure that your feet are pressing into your hands. You'll really be able to get a little bit more lift that way. So on the inhale, lift everything on up. Back of the neck is long. Gaze is down, and continue to just lift on up, taking more inhales as you lift up. And 3, 2, 1, let that go. Take opposite cheek to mat. Maybe you windshield wiper the hips. And amazing, amazing job. And from here, when you're ready, we are going to come up into all fours. And we're gonna do a little swing around with our legs here. And so your feet are planted into the mat, your hands are by your hips. And we're gonna push into our hands and our feet, coming into reverse tabletop. So pushing the ground away, head goes back. Maybe you take a lion's breath by breathing in, letting the tongue come out. And exhale, lower the butt down, lower everything down. And from here, we're gonna actually take our feet back up towards the front of the mat like we were in reverse tabletop. And maybe you pull the flesh away from your sit bones, and arms go out in front of you. And we're gonna begin to lower everything down to the mat in 5, 4, coming onto our backs, 3, 2, face this way, and 1. So everything is on the mat. Knees are facing towards the sky. And we're gonna bring the soles of our feet to touch Supta Baddha Konasana, essentially where we once started. Just noticing all the amazing, amazing work your body just did, or your breath, or both. Maybe you place one hand to heart, one hand to belly. And we're gonna take our knees in, coming into a supine twist. So hug your knees together and take them over to the right. Your left arm falls over to the left, the gaze follows. Taking a nice deep breath in here. And exhale. Making sure both shoulders are planted onto the ground here. We want the twist to come from the spine. Taking your last round of breath. And I invite you to stay here because it feels so, so good, at least for me. But if it doesn't feel great or you're ready to move on, we're going to come back up into center and take those knees on over, stacking one on top of the other to the other side, and taking the opposite arm, that right arm to the right side. Breathing here, this gentle twist, again, making sure both shoulders are planted. And taking your last round of breath, or again, if you want to stay here, come back into center. And we're gonna take our happy baby. So taking our hands outside of our feet or the insides, whatever's more comfortable for you. And just splaying the legs open and beginning to just feel this, just go back and forth on your spine, really massaging the spine here. Maybe you take one foot up, And then the other foot up. And continuing to rock here for the next 2 to 3 breaths. Just slowing down the breath. There's no need to control it anymore. You can even close the eyes, release the jaw. And when you're ready, hug the knees back into your chest, taking your neck off the mat, hugging yourself like the biggest hug you've given yourself all morning, all week. And crawling like a little seed. Take a nice deep breath in and release everything onto the mat, Shavasana. Everything is splayed out here. Maybe your knees come apart. Your arms, your palms of your hands are facing towards the ceiling. Or if you want a little bit more grounding, I invite you to just have them face down. And just be here. I will absolutely guide you out. Maybe your mantra is, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. And just relax your face, your body, the jaw, almost like an ice cube in warm water. Just melt. And begin to bring some awareness. I invite you to stay here for as long as you would like. And just begin to bring some awareness back into the fingertips. Maybe wiggle the fingers, the toes. And begin to roll onto one side. Whatever side is more intuitive for you. And then begin to press yourself up. Eyes can remain closed into a seated position. And just be here for a second. Maybe your hands come into undulating mudra, heart center, all 10 finger pads are placed or pressing in towards one another. Take a nice deep breath in and letting that go. So radical contentment can be challenging. It's involving being vigilant in your response to any voices in your head that tell you you're not enough as you are. Right now you are enough. There is nothing to fix here. There's nothing that needs to be done. And there's nothing to change or work on. Just be. I'd like to seal our practice with a mantra encompassing Santosha. You are enough, you do enough, and you are enough, and you have enough. Thank you for practicing with me, and namaste.